Satvinda Romy, preacher, businesswoman, and married to one husband, 4 children whom I have born, and 2 whom God has added to me to raise. So yes, that is Satvinda. Yeah.
I am Romy, married to one wife. It's important to say it's a wife. I'm a father, a businessman, and a preacher.
I had given my life to Jesus Christ in the year 2000, and from then on I had been telling God I want to get married to a born-again Christian, because my dad is Asian, my mom is Asian and Kenyan, and so I didn't want my dad to, when it comes to the Asian community, most of the times it's the parents who choose the wife or husband for you, through friendships and stuff like that. And so I really got scared. A fear came in my heart that I don't want to get married to someone who is not born again. At that time, a friend of my dad's had spoken to him about letting their friendship now become a relationship. And he wanted me to get married to his son, and so that provoked a prayer in my heart that God, I really want to get married to a born-again Christian, because the Bible says you can't equally yoke. I'll have a problem. I'll be told to go to the temple and I want to go to the church, my children. So I thought of many things. Then I went to the prayer mountain, that is Katoloni, in Machakos, fasted and prayed, and I remember the Lord telling me, are you serious? You really want to get married? I said, Lord, I am serious. I want to get married. And the Lord told me, fine, then you need to put your faith into action. Go to the mountain. So I went. I thought I'll be there for 3 days. I was there for longer than 3 days by the grace of God. So there, of course, I met many preachers who are very interested to know how can an Asian girl get saved. I mean, how did you come to Christ? We exchanged contacts with one particular pastor who then told me to preach for him in a crusade in Githurai. Now that is after I came from the mountain, 1 month after the mountain and prayers. And I remember the Lord telling me that write down what you want. So I said, I want a tall husband. That was number 1. I want a tall husband. I want a generous man, a born-again Christian, of course, and someone who is very kind-hearted, because God, I am kind-hearted. If I get a Maisa, I'll be like Abigail and her husband, Nabal, always vexed. You want to give, Nabal doesn't want you to give. Yeah, so actually that is what happened. So when we came from the prayer mountain, the pastor called me 1 month later, and he told me I wanted to preach for me in Githurai. That time, matatus were on strike. So I told my auntie, please take me to Githurai because I don't know Githurai. We went to the stage and we told God, because this is your will for me to preach in a crusade, to give my testimony, for people to get born again. Please give us transport. So someone would just come and say, the Lord has told me to give people transport. So here I am. I want to give you a lift till town. I'm going to town. So me and my auntie, we got in the car and a couple of other people, and we were taken to town. When we reached town, and we were asking ourselves, now how do we go to Githurai? So we went to the stage where I don't know, I didn't know. That's why I asked her to take me. So we went to the stage where you get Githurai matatus, and there were some also private cars that were giving people lifts, and we didn't have money at that time. So we were just going by the grace of God. So we entered the car. I remember when I was in that car, in fact it was a pickup, and we were sitting behind, and there was one sheep tied to the pickup, and I was just sitting there. And I remember the Lord telling me that today you will meet your husband in a blue car. And I was like, wow, I think this husband thing is too much in my head, to the point that I'm now hearing voices. And so I just said to myself, I hope it's a blue Mercedes or a blue Range Rover. So we got to Githurai, I preached, I finished, and when we were going back home, the pastor escorted us. Of course, I never used to ask for money at all, give me money because I've paid, no. And so we didn't have money to go back, so I told my auntie that God who has brought us here will take us back. Let us ask for lift. Whoever stops, even though they are devil worshipper, I will preach to the point they'll get saved, because at that time was freshly saved. It was the year 2003, so 3 years after I got saved. So I am there. We were trying to stop cars, and The car that stopped was a blue one. But it was not a Mercedes, it was not a Range Rover, it was a Mini. You know, the old Mini. It didn't even have 6 numbers on the plate. It was KNK 70?
62.
62, KNK 62. And so there's a lady sitting behind, a Muslim lady with a child. She was wearing bibui, and then Romy was sitting in front. And so the lady behind told us that if you want us to give you a ride to Nairobi town, you have to pay us money. So me, I didn't have. The pastor paid for us and gave us some extra change from South B. We were living in South B. And we told them, "Sir, then you will have to take us to the South B matatus." And they were like, "Sir." That time in the evening, you know, when the strike has cooled down, so some matatus were operational. Now my auntie sat behind and I sat in front. And while we were going, the Lord is telling me, "This is your husband." And I'm like, "How?" But God, I told you I want to get married to a born-again Christian. And clearly you can see that, first of all, this is the wife sitting behind with the child. And the Lord tells me, "Ask him." So I'm like, where do I start? So I just introduced myself. My name is Sakvinda. This is my aunt. She's called Han. And so the lady behind said, "Oh, my name is Zena. And this is my nephew. And he's called Romy." And the Lord is like, "I told you that's not the wife." Second question, "God, I told you I want a born-again Christian. If the lady is wearing a bibu and this is the nephew, this guy is a Muslim. I want to get married to a born-again Christian." And the Lord is like, "He's not a Muslim. Ask." So I went again, I asked again, and I told them that, "Oh, Zena, pleasure to meet you, Romy. Actually, I'm an evangelist, a Christian evangelist." And so Zena told me, "Oh, that's really surprising because I'm a Muslim, but my nephew is a Christian." And I was like, "Where do you fellowship, Sitam?" And the Lord is like, "I told you." So at that point, I was like, "Now God," in my heart, I'm asking myself, "Fine, he could be my husband." Because I told God to choose for me. I told God, "Choose for me. I don't want to choose for myself. Choose for me, so when I have trouble, I'll come back to you." So I remember I told God, "Now how are we meeting from here? Because they're dropping us at South B." So the Lord whispers to me, "Tell them what you do." At that time, we were going through a lot of poverty. Because when we got born again, it's like the Indian gods came to take all their money. We were back to zero. So I was making soap and I was selling soap. And so I told the lady, I told her, his auntie, that I make soap for a living. What do you do? She said, "I'm in the same industry. Let's exchange numbers." That's how we exchanged numbers. And that's how I alighted in town with my auntie. And from there, he can now tell us what they were discussing in the car.
In fact, actually, when I got the car, I had a voice telling me, this car will get your wife." At that time, I was still looking. And one time we had just decided to go to Thika to go and see a relative of ours. So on our way back, we said we won't give any, because the matatus had striked, we said we won't ask people to come into the car because it's a small car. Whoever asks for a lift, we will only give them. So we'll only stop the people who will stop us. So we came, then we had to drop someone in Githurai. So on our way out, that's when they stopped the car. And then from there, that's how we met. We exchanged numbers, I think, with my auntie. And then my auntie was like, this is a good girl, you should go talk to her. But I was like, said, you guys go to church together, so you can invite her to your church. So one time we were having a Kesha at Sitam. So I told her, "Let me pick you up. Then we can have Kesha. Then you can see how we fellowship." Then we started from there.
Yeah, so from there our dates were Keshas. We go for meetings. "Oh, we have a youth meeting, come to my church. Oh, there's a meeting here, come." So, why don't we become prayer partners? That's when I came to know that you cannot have young guys, a young girl and a young man at your prayer partners. It won't end well. It might end well. So that's how we started meeting in churches. So one day, I had told the Lord in the mountain, when I get my husband, I will come to this mountain for 3 days to thank you. So I can't tell him the Lord told me that you're my husband. He can't tell me that I feel like you're my wife. We're all shy. We went to the prayer mountain 3 days. We gave thanks to the Lord. We came back. When we came back now, I told him that there's a church in town, Bishop Margaret Wanjiro's church. Let's go for a meeting there. They have powerful meetings, revival meetings in the evening. So the Lord told me today I'm going to confirm to both of you, because you're both shy. I will confirm myself that this is your husband. So that day he was having some financial problems, and he told me, why don't we pray for our finances? We used to fast and pray a lot together. So that day we fasted and we were praying for finances. When we got to the church and Bishop was preaching about the message, it is finished. So after she finished, she called us. You know, it was not like her to call people on the altar and prophesy. So she called us. You young couple, come here. So we went there and we told her we are not a couple, we are friends. Then she told us, are you planning to get married? We're just looking at her, we don't know what to answer. And she told us, the Lord is saying, get married and serve the Lord. Now I've only known this guy for 2 months. It was only 2 months. And the Lord is saying, get married and serve the Lord. And in my heart, I became like Gideon. As we were going, and as she prayed for us and she told us to go back and sit, I told God, let her confirm what we were praying for. Then I will know it is you. As we were going, we were not even 50 meters from where she was standing. And she's like, come back. Were you fasting and praying for finances? And we were like, yes. So she prayed and she said, the Lord is going to bless you. Only remember to use your money to serve the Lord. When we left that place, we started arranging for our wedding. We don't know each other. I don't know who he is, where he's coming from. He doesn't know who I am, where I'm coming from. That is when we started planning for our wedding.
We didn't have a traditional
We are
wedding
both from mixed races. We didn't know which tradition
to
to
follow.
Unfortunately, the blue Mini that brought us together had to get sold for us to be able to buy the wedding dress and meet expenses. So he
yes.
had to sell his car for us to get married, because now when we started a group of committee members for us to arrange our wedding, we didn't have the money. But you know, committee, they'll also ask you, what do you have? So he had to sell the Mini to get a wife. But he usually says, the Mini gave me a wife. Yeah, so we brought people together. People contributed towards our wedding, and so we did it in our church in KG South Sea. It was officiated by Bishop Jackson Budia. And the good thing about our church is that upstairs there was a hall, so we didn't have to go far for our reception. We did our wedding downstairs, and upstairs we had our reception. Then China Garden. Where is China Garden?
I think it's in near Gigiri.
Near Gigiri. It was a free place. You could take pictures for free at that time. So we took pictures for free. Actually, we were both broke when we were getting married. But our wedding had every kind of, you know, the Muslims, the Buddhists, the Indians, all of them came to church that day for our wedding.
Yeah.
People who had never stepped the church came to church that day for our wedding. And we had so many, we were like 21 linesmen, 21 lines boy. People really were excited to be there for our wedding. But we had so many deaths at that time. We were eating, and I'm telling him,
we've not paid for the soda.
We have not paid the guy for soda. We have not paid the cameraman. And you know, it was actually, it took the hand of God for us to have that wedding. We could not afford honeymoon at that time. And even the next day, we didn't have any food to eat. But luckily, and God was good to us, the next day his uncle came with a whole mbuzi. And we had a whole celebration where we were.
Yeah.
So those are the provisions of God. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When God confirmed, we knew, because definitely those feelings for each other. Yeah. And from there, I think it was just a confirmation, because we used to meet a lot. Yeah.
No one made a proposal that, will you marry me, will you marry me? When the Lord said, get married and serve the Lord, it was like two people who have been told, now do it right now. So we just started organizing for the wedding. By the way, there was no proposal. No one told the other one, will you marry me? When you just heard the voice, it was like we're just waiting for God to speak.
Yeah.
He would send me poems on my email. you know, and one day I'd ask him, why do you send me these poems on my email? So he got scared and he's like, but I send it to many of my friends. I'm like, no. Then one day is when he told me, you know, I never thought that a girl like you would agree to marry someone like me. But if you would say yes, what did you write in that email? Can you tell them?
I can't remember.
I
Yeah. I was just too shy to declare it. And she's a very jovial person and very bubbly. And she's a person who you know, there's a poem or a saying that you marry someone you can go to war with. Yes. So she's, even when times have been hard, she's stood out and she's been like a pillar and a help. Yeah, when things really get tough, she's always been there.
I was scared at first because I thought my dad would want me to get married to an Indian. But I used to hint, you know, because he got married to a mixed race woman who is a Christian. They got married in the Catholic Church, actually. So I told him, hey, Dad, I used to tell him, Dad, the way you had the freedom to choose who you will marry, I hope one day you'd give me the same freedom. So he would be like, yeah, why not? The first time Romy came to our place, I just told my dad, oh, this is someone who has helped me to carry things for making soap. He's just helping me to carry these things. But my mom usually tells me the first day my dad saw him, my dad told my mom, this is her husband. I know that she's going to get married to this guy here. But he really loved Romy because Romy, what stood out for me is a very humble person. And in all our years of marriage, actually, he's never said no to me. Never ever used the word no. And even then, when we met, whatever I tell him, he'd just say yes, yes, yes. Till today, he's never changed, I thank God. So he was very humble, and my dad really loved that about him. So when I now introduced him and I said, Dad, do you remember the guy who was making the soap? Yeah, he wants to come and marry me. Will you allow him to come and propose? I mean, to come and present himself to you. And my dad was like, I'm confident you made the right choice. And I've seen him once here. And I knew you were lying to me that he's helping you carry the soap. But if you love him and you guys feel like you want to get married, yeah, why not? So my dad from day one, and my mom, they loved him.
I had that, you know, when you watch Indian movies and you watch the Indian films, you know, there's a lot of like cultural background. And I thought the same will be there, but I was happy that she doesn't have that tradition, and we both love our families, and we do fellowship a lot, but it's more in a Christian way, and there is no, what can we say? There's no friction in that. You know, sometimes you find families with a lot of friction, from your in-laws and your yes, the in-laws and the sisters and the brothers. But her family has been very acceptive, and same from my family.
I thought that I will get the same traditional things because he also has a Meru background. And that is what is very strong in their family. But thank God, because of Christianity, there are many things that, I mean, there's a lot of love, as he has said. Definitely, when I heard he was Meru and I heard the stories about the Meru guys, you know, they are very angry and aggressive people. I was also expecting someone who will be very violent. But looking at humility, you know, people used to tell me, the way he's humble and Meru's ni wakali, this guy maybe is pretending. But no, that has not happened. I think when God puts you together, he knows. When you tell God, choose the spouse for me, God knows you more than yourself. Yeah, so we didn't expect any negative thing from each other. Although definitely we've fought many times and things like that. But
True.
our fears were the cultural shocks, but we didn't get them, and we thank God for that. Yeah.
We normally go out. You can go out for coffee, lunch, or dinner, depending on the availability of the other person. And it's just the time that we share together. Even sometimes it's just to walk. Sometimes we can even take a drive, just go far and come back. And she says, just being in that presence, that's enough, you know.
Yeah, for me, I'm not the kind of person like we have to go out there to spend some time. Just as he has said, his presence, just knowing he's around at home or he's there, it gives me the contentment I need. I don't need to go anywhere with him. I mean, even at lunch or dinner. I don't think we go out much. As I told you, 6 months. At the last time we went out, I can't remember.
2 months ago.
December, no, like to go out
Oh,
and
okay.
to be away from the kids. Maybe in December, but we are not really outgoing people. The most we can do is maybe a date, coffee date, lunch date, things like that, or a drive. Drives, yes, I love drives. They really calm me down. And he also loves drives. So we might drive even to Kiambu and back, listening to music. I think we just love drives. That is our thing. Yeah. I love children. Had he said yes, I'd give birth to 7. But him, he only wanted 2. So when I got a girl, then I got a girl, and I was like, now I want a boy. When I got a boy, then I got another boy. Now he was like, now you have 2 girls, you have 2 boys. Now what do you want? But God knows how I love children, and so God allowed us from our family to raise children from the members of our family. So we have a son and we have a daughter from that. So total we have 6 children. Yeah. And now we have 1 grandchild. Yes. From my firstborn daughter. We marry young. Our children have, apart from sickness, when children are sick, and that really brings a lot of emotional tension, they have not disturbed us, or they have not brought any negative pressure into the marriage. And we've never felt like this child has taken my husband away from me, or this child has taken. I think we are very traditional, old traditional
Old school.
minded people. Yeah, we've never felt like since children came, now we don't have time for each other. No, that has never happened between us. In fact, we thank God. We thank God. Our children have never brought any negative. The only tension we've had in our marriage concerning our children is when they are not feeling well, because we've had one with asthma, the other one with a lot of throat infections, the other one with stomach infections, and you know, that getting sick on and off, that has brought a lot of pressure sometimes, but nothing else. We have never felt like our children have made us separate, or we have never. I like his parenting style more than me, because I'd shout at a child, and you just keep quiet because you're the mother, you're disciplining the child. But when he starts shouting, I'm up in arms. Why are you shouting? What? You know, so his parenting style is very good. He's taught me a lot when it comes to parenting, because from where he comes from, he has helped raise many children from his family. For me, Indian background, we shout anywhere and everywhere. But his parenting, his African traditional culture thing has really helped me. Like when you want to discuss, when you want to shout at me because of something bad I've done to the child, talk to me in the bedroom. For us, it happens anywhere. Why have you done this? So it's like, you have to talk to me in the bedroom, and when I discipline a child, you need to show me the support. Don't show the child that I don't love them and things like that. When it comes to parenting, A plus.
Our best memories are in Mombasa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you go for family vacation, so we've like once in a year, God willing, when God enables us, we take a trip with the kids. We go to Mombasa, and that's it. It's like our special vacation place. So we are normally there. We cast off all restraints, yeah. So we just relax and let the kids roam around at the hotel, and that's it. I think
That is where we relax
it's a
and we
lot,
have
yeah.
a good time. We only go for vacation once in a year, and that is December. And I mean, we can say those are the only good memories we have, like going out. But as I told you, as long as he's around and I'm around,
That's
I
it.
think every day and every moment is just a good memory. My number one mentor in my marriage is my mother. She had a very difficult marriage, and there were times that it was very difficult, and there were times it was very good. And so whenever I have pressure, or whenever I feel like things are not going the right way, because marriage is between two people who have been brought up in different ways, different culture, different upbringing, and sometimes we are both firstborns. So I want to have the say. He wants to have the say. We knock heads, but my mom, she's my number one mentor in marriage. Yeah, that's what I can say. My number one mentor. If it is not for her, I don't think I would still be in marriage, because I'm a person who I don't like if I find that I'm doing something and I'm struggling, I'd rather quit and do something else. You get it? But when it came to marriage, I came to realize it is work. And it's true, if you can keep a marriage, you can keep a church. Because there are things this person will do that you don't like. You try to address it, but they are insisting on following their ways. And that makes you feel like, I don't want this marriage, because I'm not happy here. Same applies. But when I go to my mom and she talks to me and I see where my fault is and I accept my fault and he accepts his fault and she brings us together, for me, my mom is number one mentor. And yes, we have had couples in our church whom we have mentored, and we have seen the Lord. What I can say is there is no marriage that is in a situation that is irreparable. Every marriage can work. If you really want it to work, it can work, no matter how bad it is.
My mentor was Miles Monroe. He passed on, but the good thing is I took a few things from him, and we've shared that with a lot of young people, even in church, raising the next generation. So the people you take on for the marriage classes, you have to show them that marriage works. And the other thing is two people. You're getting two people who do not know each other, who are not raised in the same family, and you're bringing them together. So normally my mother-in-law says it's like taking two sufurias, putting them together. They will clash, yes. But at the end of the day, you're looking at what complements the other person. I've learned to be patient. Because sometimes I can't have my way always. And marriage is give and take. Because sometimes you have to give and sometimes you have to take. It's not always your own way. So it's learning to be patient with the other person. Sometimes she wants to do some things her way, and you know it's not going to work, but you say, okay, let her do it. And then when it fails, you just still support her, you know, and then show her, this was wrong, let's do it like this. But, you know, sometimes men, we want to have our way. It's either my way or the highway. So that one wouldn't work. Yeah, so she's taught me to be patient and loving. And if I make a mistake and I do something against her, I normally go back and say, I'm sorry. It's hard for a man to say, I'm sorry, but you know, you want the best for your family. So, yeah.
In marriage, you have to easily forgive. If you don't easily forgive, you don't keep a record of wrongs the way the Bible says. If you keep remembering, if I keep remembering, because yeah, he has always taught me, don't resurrect the dead. Once you say sorry, you have killed that fault. Don't now when you fight with me the next time, you're resurrecting the dead. So now you're mixing what I did, you know, you keep bringing up the dead. The stench will make our marriage rot. So when I say sorry, don't bring the very thing I said sorry. That thing is dead. Let it go. That is what he has taught me. Because every time I fight with him and I argue with him and I remember what he did, but that thing is dead. Why are you resurrecting it again? That's what I've learned from him. To move forward, you know. Like I also have many mistakes. He has many mistakes. Marriage is about sacrifice, as he has said. It can't always be his way. It can't always be my way. Even for God to get us as his own children, he had to sacrifice. Without sacrifice, marriage, there's no marriage that will work without sacrifice. So sometimes even him, he wants to do something and I feel like this is the wrong move. But as he has said, we allow each other to make mistakes. And then we go back and tell each other, I told you. So because you don't want to be told, I told you. And that is what has helped us nowadays, when our marriage now moved from 5 years to now we are going to the 10-year brackets. We learned to, we never do anything in our marriage unless we agree. So anything we want to do, we have to agree. Without agreement, we tell each other it's not going to work. And if we do it without agreement, the hand of God is not going to be upon it to bless it. So because we want the hand of God, we have to agree. We never do anything without agreement. We better postpone it or suspend it until we agree, no matter how urgent it is.
She is a firstborn, and normally at her home, from her dad's place, she will have her say, and she will have her way. So sometimes, you know, you realize that it's a losing battle. You can't fight with her, so let her have her way. Okay, but nowadays I don't look at it from. It used to annoy me initially, but nowadays it doesn't annoy me anymore.
His eyes, he's angry. The way he just rolls them and he looks at me like, you know, when you are small kids and your parent doesn't want you to touch something and they just look at you and you don't touch it. Those eyes, when he's angry, they annoy me. Because he just goes like, "Ay!" That provokes me to another degree. Yeah, they still do. I'm still working on it.
I'm still a work in progress.
They still annoy me. Because I'd prefer he tells me when I'm wrong. But he has this tendency of rolling the eyes and looking at you as in, those eyes provoke me to it. Yeah, when they're angry. Yeah, when they're not angry, they're good. want to reach out to more people when we are together. We don't compete in positions in church. He handles the administration, and he also preaches. But he's not the kind of person who will say, "Oh, you've preached many times, I need to preach." No, he's not that kind of person. He puts me on the forefront. He empowers me, and he wants the best to come out, and for us to reach as many people as we can. We don't have that competition between us. We complement each other, as he said. So in ministry, it's fun working with him in ministry, because even when I'm wrong, he counsels me, and I accept his counsel. Where he's wrong, he accepts my counsel. Where he's preached dry, I tell him. Where I've preached dry, he tells me. So we are very open in that way, because our motive is to make each other better for the service of God.
One thing, when we came into marriage, we said, the first days we used to have a lot of conflict. We will fight like cats and dogs, like Tom and Jerry. But one thing we've realized, that at the end of the day, you will have to go and say your prayers. Or in the morning, you have to say your prayers. So you can't go to God when you're mad. It says, leave your offering, go and reconcile. So we've made it a point that we will not sleep until we've reconciled. So even if I find her sleeping, I will wake her up and tell her, okay, for the sake of this thing, I'm sorry. Or she will come and tell me, what you did something wrong, I didn't like it, and we'll reconcile. Then now we have a clean slate to go before the Lord, and make our prayers. So that is something we've realized that can help even many couples, because to err is to human, but we are here for one another. Marriage is life. It's not something that you're trying out. This is for life, and it's for keeps. So as long as we love one another, I will want to see the best for her. So even if I've made her or she made me, sometimes even I apologize when she's the one who's on the wrong. I know it will hit her, and then she will come back and say, okay, yeah, I did something that was uncalled for, and she will apologize on her own terms.
Like if we have fought and I really want him to feel guilty, I realize that when we keep arguing, it doesn't help. So I'll serve him breakfast in bed, and he'll be like, "Wow, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad." So I realized when I do good things, they make him feel bad about what he's done to me. But that came from him, because he pembalezes me a lot. So I realized when we are angry, and he'll just tell me, "Oh, you look so good when you're angry." I just start smiling, and that thing brushes off. So I said, let me look for my method. So when he's wronged me, and I want him to feel guilty, because when someone does something wrong to you, sometimes it's painful, but you want them to feel guilty. So you do good things. So I'd do good things. I'd serve him breakfast in bed, or I'd send him M-Pesa, or I'd do something, and he'll realize what he did was wrong, and he'll say sorry, and we'll move on.
There's a lot they didn't tell us about marriage. There was no handbook. Marriage for dummies, no. There was nothing like that. There was a lot we did not know. There's a lot we did not understand at first about marriage, because we just saw you saw a beautiful guy, a lady, and she must have seen a handsome man, something like that, and we thought, this is going to be a bed of roses. No, it's not, because the thing is, marriage, there's some, you see, when the pastor gives you the vows, he says, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, in sickness and in health, for challenges and for hardships and for smooth sailing. Those are the things. So when challenges come, you find that you should have an anchor. That's why I say marriage it's a three-party. It's between you, your wife, and God. If there's no one party, even in the old times, you cannot cook with 2 stone. It used to be a three stone pot setting. So you has to be like that in life, I think. The challenges, we normally go to God, and you also have your partner for your back. So whenever I have my challenges, sometimes I pray and I feel like, I'm just so down. And I normally go to her and tell her, you know what, can you just minister to me as a pastor? Forget I'm your husband. And then she tells me, you know what, these challenges are like this, where God has taken us is from this. These are challenges. We've seen worst case scenarios. So it's nothing. Yeah. Yeah. So she makes the marriage workable.
So in marriage, people have to accept that there are seasons of dryness, just like the weather. You feel dry. Where's the love that I felt for my husband? Where's that respect and things like that? But as he has said, you go to God. Revive that love back. The first love that I had for my husband, the first love that I had for my wife, revive it. And then the other thing is that as we continue in marriage, sometimes we become selfish. You just think about yourself. At first, you would even serve that man with food, you do so many things. Then that dies down, you started becoming dirty, you don't want to serve him food. I'm a wife, where is he going? I'm a husband, where is she going? Things like that. Tunazoea ndoa. So we don't see that, you don't feel like, I have to look good for my husband. You just leave yourself like that. I'm already a wife, I've already given birth, wacha nijiachilie, things like that. You don't keep the house clean anymore. You take it for advantage. Like in marriage, the way they say, you've really changed. You're not the woman I married. You're not the man I married. As a woman, look beautiful. Be a clean woman. Try every day to do something that is going to keep reviving that love. Even when you buy flowers and you put them in a pot, you can't just leave them there with that water. They will wither. You have to keep putting fresh water. You need to give it some food. Doing things working on your marriage, actually, just the way God has put us in this world to work. Working in your marriage to bring that zest, that energy, that love, and that, like when I feel like we've become too serious at work, we've become too serious with ministry and too serious with the children, I tell him, we need to go out this weekend, let's go book somewhere and sit and just have fun, me and you, or let's go for a drive, things that will reconnect us. Because many things can pull you apart, bringing children up, financial problems, things like that. You're the one who will have to keep that marriage energized. Sometimes you'd be like, see, this man has seen you all your life. If you're going somewhere, just go to church the way you are. No, sometimes I'll even put lenses, I'll put makeup, I'll change my hairstyle, to keep it happy and fresh every day. Not that sasa unajiachilia, I am married now, I have kids, wacha nijiachilie. No. So the thing is that marriage is work. When you get into marriage, please, if they didn't tell you it is work, it is work. It is work of maintaining that love, maintaining that relationship, maintaining that atmosphere where your husband wants to come home, where you want to come home. It is work. You have to work. Yeah, marriage is work, by the way. If I was taken back to the year 2004 and I was asked, do you want to marry Romy? I would still say yes. You are an amazing person, a loving father, a very, very supportive husband. You have never said no to me. You work so hard to give me everything that I want. You make life so good and so comfortable, and if there is, of course, we believe that after we die in eternity, there is no marriage. But if at all God says there is marriage ever, I would only want you to be my husband.
Oh, that's nice. I can't topple that. It has been wonderful having you as a wife, and you've been really, really supportive. You've been my honeymoon baby, and I wouldn't mind starting over again any day. Yes, with you. And that is our love story.